My name is Yasin Guev and I'm Corporate Affairs Director in Global. One of the things that I'm responsible for is corporate responsibility. I want to talk to you about the reason a company would engage in sustainability. I want to start just with the opposite. More than 30 years ago, a smart guy called Milton Friedman said something quite in the opposite direction. And I will read the quote for you. There is one and only one social responsibility of business: to use its resources and engage in activities designed to increase its profits, so long as it stays within the rules of the game, which is to say, engages in open and free competition without deception or fraud. So simply, Milton Friedman says, don't do anything about the society, then pay your taxes and stay within the rules of the game. That was not true even then, in the 70s, in the last century, and it's even more not true right now. Companies don't exist as a separate universe. They are part of the whole society, and they have an impact. And this impact creates expectations from the society, creates risks, and they should answer those risks. With the growth of the information society, with social networking, with the 24/7 news cycle, you should be able as a company to give answers, and you would engage with the media, with the non-governmental sector, with the society as a whole, with individual users, with people that tend to have some opinion about things, all through the day, and you should have answers. And you can really stay like this and only say, I follow the rules, I pay my taxes and don't ask me for anything more. But consumers in the last 10 years tend to perceive companies not only as those providing services, but they tend to perceive them as people, as really people with an image, with doing something for society, and they need an answer why the company exists. And the answer that we exist only to make profits, it's not enough. I will give you an example of a company that does little CSR, and this company is Apple. If you open their website, you will see that they are checking the impact of their products. But if you ask yourself, does Apple do something like supporting the environment, or doing something regarding education or healthcare? Not really. One of the comments, and it was a rightful comment by the late Steve Jobs, was that actually computers will not help education. And he is giving the example that even Lincoln got a pretty good education without having a computer. And that's supposed to be right. But Apple can stay out of sustainability, almost, because it's a company that is close to a cult. People are really in love with their products. They're perfect people, stay in lines to buy their products, and they are in love with them. And also, there is no significant negative impact to what they're doing. On the opposite side are companies in the energy sector, or companies that are producing aluminum or metals, or companies in the mining industry that have visible negative impact on the environment, and they should provide data and show what are they doing in this regard. Speaking about companies as ours, which has millions of clients, we are one of the 10 biggest companies in the country. It is expected that we will go we will go a little bit beyond what is expected. So from one side, we do things like the Drive Safely campaign. Major reason, more than 40% of the accidents on the road happen because people are distracted by using their phone, either checking their email, reading an SMS, or just trying to send one. And instead of looking on the roads, there is an accident. So we should recognize that and try to do something, and not just hide and say we don't care, this is the responsibility of our clients. The same with the Safer Internet campaign that we have. We provide access to internet. And of course we may say it's up to the parents to guide their children not to go in places where they should not go. But bad things happen, and we should be there in advance, knowing the business and giving advice. But also we should go a step further, because paying taxes and saying that the state is responsible for everything, it's not enough. Also, it makes a good business sense. And I will give you an example, which is just a general one. We are a mobile company, and we want people to buy good smartphones and to use a lot of internet so they can be able to read newspapers, to read books. But in order that to happen, they should have more money, because a good iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy 5 costs a lot of money. So as a company, our interest is that the country will do better. Our interest is that companies all across the board in the country will be able to pay a lot of money to their employees, so they will be able to spend. And that will create wealth. So it's a question if we should wait just for the politicians and say it's their work to improve the overall situation in the country. Or we should say that we also have some resources, and we can, from that what we have on top, spend something and engage with the community in order to change things for the better. Be it in education, be it in healthcare, be it in any other direction. One of the things that we have done, it's to be champions on environment, because we think this is a big issue. It's a big issue because looking at businesses, it's the thing related to increasing efficiency and being better. So we've been very open through the last years, sharing our best practices and showing how we have developed an overall program to monitor all our emissions, to have programs in which we actually are making our company better. And many times we have shown to other companies what we have done so far. Sometimes we take risks to do things which are not feasible from a financial point of view, but it's investment for the future. Example, I will give you two examples. First one, we bought the first electric car. It was, and it is, very expensive. So it's a Mitsubishi Ion, which cost 36,000 euro. For the same car with the gas engine, we would have spent 8,000 euro. So you can ask yourself why we bought it. We bought it because we believe that this is the future. This reduces CO2 emissions, and we don't want to read from newspapers or magazines what is the effect. We want to find out ourselves. So we spent this money. Good thing is that we got the money, and we created the case study based on our real learnings. We didn't keep the study for ourselves. We shared it whenever it was possible with people from other companies in the country to show what is the road ahead. Same with our photovoltaic system on the Network Operations Center. People, when we opened it, asked ourselves, so how much money will you do? Actually, we are not sure that we'll recover the investment. And it's not about this. It's about the environment, because there are CO2 emissions that are produced, and because the issue is big. I will give you at the end one example. People tend not to understand the threat before they see it with their eyes. And sometimes the threat, it's not that visible. I have a favorite picture from several years ago when the whole subway of New York City was flooded. It shows an entrance to the subway where a couple of people came just to see that it's flooded, it's full of water, and they're not able to take the subway and go to work. And that was the time that they understood that global warming is there, that there is an effect, when they understood that they're not able to take the subway and go to work and then go back home. And it's a huge issue that exists, And of course, probably it's not for companies with a low CO2 impact as ours to engage in that. But on the other side, we have services that can help. The fact that we are offering connectivity, that we are offering voice, that we are offering internet, makes it possible for people to travel less, gives them opportunity to have access to business applications on the go without going to the office, gives them a lot of opportunities and reduces the CO2 emissions in general. Just to give you an example, with online meetings or with conferencing that you can do for your phone or online, doesn't matter. So there are a lot of opportunities, and with all the biggest threats that exist from the growing of the population all across the globe, it makes sense. Finally, I will give you an example that shows that this is a global issue. Several years ago, there was a plan in the Czech Republic to build a new coal-fired power plant, quite a big one. And of course, as part of the normal discussion, there was a public discussion based on the plan. Everybody in the Czech Republic was surprised that there was a declaration coming from a small island in the Pacific against building this power plant. And the reason was pretty simple. This small island was pretty flat, and every 10 or 15 or 20 centimeters with which the water level will increase will mean that in a couple of years this island will not exist. So even CO2 emissions from the Czech Republic from one power plant will have an impact. Everything has an impact because it's a global issue. So that's why it is very important, doesn't matter where you are, to do something on this. And it means that businesses should be involved, because we have the biggest impact in this regard. So sharing best practices, it's something good, and also that creates an image that the company is not simply a mobile operator giving data. It makes an image of a company that cares for the society as a whole, that has an expertise, and that's giving back. And this makes customers proud. So it has also a business effect. Of course, it's hard to measure. It's not real money that you can measure at the end of the day. But there is an effect, and this effect is positive. And whoever started to do that will see it at the end of the day with improved image, with a public image that will give you an opportunity to engage really with the community and to improve things for the better.